Hey everybody, Sinister Lex here. Today we're asking the question, is the copywriting market saturated? Alright guys, so a few days ago, we got into the whole Upwork issue asking, is Upwork saturated? Are there too many freelancers on Upwork? Are there too many people competing for the jobs? Today I see the question, is copywriting saturated? Or is adding copywriting services saturated? Now, there are a lot of different ways this could be interpreted. It could be interpreted as you already have a business and you want to add copywriting services. And that's different from just being a copywriter. So, let's talk about it. Is adding copywriting services saturated? I don't even know what that means. I don't really see how that can be saturated. Let's think about that sentence. Is adding copywriting services saturated? You have a business and you add a service. How can that service that you're adding be saturated? Unless you already have that service within your business and it's competing against itself. Otherwise, the question doesn't even make sense. So, is adding copywriting services saturated? It doesn't make any sense unless we're asking a different question. We have to ask, is copywriting saturated? Is the copywriting market saturated? Maybe those are better questions to start with, but those questions still suck. And here's why. Because there are there's three kinds of copywriters, and there's two main barriers to entry. So let's talk about those real quick. The three types of copywriters are newbies who just entered the field. They don't know shit. They're not real copywriters. They're just putting copywriter on their profile. And then there are good copywriters who've been in it a few months, and they've immersed themselves in the copywriting world. They're out there writing copy, competing for jobs. And then there are great copywriters. These are the tip of the spear, the best of the best. And within those three things, you have to consider the barriers to entry. There are two barriers to entry, two main ones. One is the time it takes to move from newbie to good copywriter, because newbies get shit jobs. That's just a fact of life. If you're a newbie, you're gonna get the shit jobs because you have to build up some kind of credibility before anyone's gonna work with you. People read my threads and they're like, man, that Sinister Lex, he just became a copywriter and in a month he was earning $100 an hour and blah, 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 blah. Nobody realizes that I studied influence and persuasion and psychology and NLP and hypnosis and Enneagram personality typing for the last 10 years before that. Holy shit. That's a barrier to entry. That's why I jumped into copywriting, which is like a lateral field, and then I took off like a rocket. But that's not how it's going to work for you. It's not going to be the same. You can jump in, you can get clients, but you're not going to know everything I know. You're not going to know everything every great copywriter knows. So you're going to be at the bottom of the barrel, and you're going to have to work your way up. And that means there's a time barrier. So it's going to take you a couple months at least to learn the trade, you need at least a basic fundamental understanding of human psychology. And then you also need an understanding of how to write good stories, because a copywriter can't write good copy if he can't write good stories. That's a fact. So you have to learn stories, you have to learn psychology, you have to learn the fundamentals of copywriting. Makes sense, right? And then you can move up to good copywriter status. And good copywriters, those guys compete against each other. So, if we're talking about the freelance platforms, the copywriters who are at the good level, who have moved beyond being a newbie, they're at the good level, you're all competing against each other for all of these baseline gigs, general shit that you guys are like, oh man, it's a sales page, I gotta go in here and type up an application for that or something. Yeah, if you're competing online, then it's saturated. You're saturated at that level still. You're not as saturated because you moved beyond the newbie stage, but you're still saturated because you're competing with all the good copywriters who actually took the time to learn the trade and dive in with this. But that saturation is another barrier to entry, because more people means more competition, means you have to do something different to stand out and be better and make the higher pay. So, good copywriters, there's a shift you have to make, another one going from good copywriter to great copywriter. And a great copywriter does things differently than a good copywriter. They don't compete with good copywriters at all. Great copywriters, let me say that again, great copywriters do not compete with good copywriters at all. Why? Because they don't have to. They pick a niche. In fact, they may even pick a sub-niche. They go deeper and deeper, and they find the people who they can help very specifically, and then they start learning that niche, that industry. And they rise to the top in that industry because they are so good, they learn the problem so well that they can write the best copy and know what's going to convert. And that is the difference between a great copywriter and a good copywriter. Is the great copywriter market saturated? Fuck no. It's not saturated at all because there's nobody competing with great copywriters. If you're a great copywriter, you're probably in an industry or a sub-niche somewhere where nobody else is competing with you. You are the master. You are the expert. You are the one person that people in that industry can turn to and know that they're going to get good stuff, and they don't even have to sort through profile applications or anything like that. They just go in there and they find you and they're like, he's the expert, I'm going to pay him whatever his rates are. Any price he wants, I will give it to him. So that's what you got to do. So is the copywriting market saturated? Only if you don't know how to think outside of the box. If you're just jumping in, yes, it's saturated. You're competing with everyone for bottom dollar jobs. If you're in it a few months, you compete with less people, but you still compete with a lot of general copywriters for mid-level jobs. And then if you're smart and you ever grow beyond that, which most people don't, then you don't compete with anyone at all because you find your own sub-niche where you can be the leader of that industry and you can help those people. This is how you help people, guys. I don't know if you understand this, but when you move beyond being a general copywriter to a specific copywriter, then you learn the market, then you learn the problems, then you learn how to write copy for that audience, and you can actually help people, and then you are no longer in a saturated market. So that's all I got. Let me know your thoughts down below. What industries are you guys working in, writing in? Do you find it's flooded with people? Is it busy? How do you feel about freelance sites? Offline, most people don't even know they need a copywriter. How can you help somebody today that does it differently from what everyone else is doing? If you want to be a great copywriter, you want to stand out from the pack, you want to not be in a saturated market, maybe it's time you do something different. That's all I got for this one, guys. Subscribe down below if you want to see more. If you want my notifications, drop me a like, comment, because I will reply. Ha, that looks kind of sinister. I will see you next time.